Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Why We Love Horror. We're on episode 9. Fucking 9 years. Can you believe that shit? Time flies by, doesn't it? Well, again, no Nazario. Where the fuck is Nazario? I don't know. Sometimes he shows up, sometimes he doesn't. But today, I got a very good fucking person. One of my favorite people in this community.
Holy
I got
shit,
Spence.
I was not expecting that. Let's go. Yeah.
How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fucking great. I can't wait to lower the bar and quality of movies you can bring on this show.
That's all what we're expecting here. And before we get started, buy our shit, as always, because our shit is great. We got all kinds of new shit. We got a new logo and been ranked. Copyright. Go buy that. It's fucking badass. But yeah, let's get into it, Spence. What was the first horror movie you remember seeing?
This is a fun fact. I actually brought up to Nazario a few months back.
Okay.
And it was, so this is why you're so fucked up. Because at 3, I remember my dad invited me into his room. He was like, hey, come on, let's watch this. And I watched The Bride of Chucky for about 30 minutes. I specifically remember, I'm forgetting her fucking name, but his girlfriend.
Jennifer Tilly?
Yeah, it basically teamed up to like kill a guy in a waterbed or something.
Yes.
And then just the blood spouting everywhere. And like that's imprinted on my brain. I was terrified of up until I was like 12. Like any of those fucking dolls, I am just on the ground, I'm done. Just on the spot, finished.
It's funny that you say that because now I have someone like me, 3 years old, watching shit you shouldn't be fucking watching. It's fucking great.
The difference is I was a pussy bitch until like I was 18, 19. It's like, oh wait, no, I fucking love horror now. And it's just like these past 3 years have just been me just like trying to find the weird shit. And I've still missed a lot of the big stuff. But I love being able to like dive into like this is like some weird like culty shit and getting immersed into like the history behind it, the fan base, and I'm still growing, but I feel like I have like a good base to turn into like a weird fucking crazy dude.
That's
like 20
actually
years.
That's what I love about it is the fact that you are experiencing movies I wish I could re-experience now. Like it's fucking awesome that you get to experience some new shit that I've grown up watching, and I've always wanted to think going my age now, what would it be like to fucking watch this movie for the first time? Like The Thing. What would it be like to watch fucking Thing for the first time, or Halloween for the first time?
So the thing is the thing that actually broke me, where it was so I'm more or less like in a professional theater fraternity.
Okay.
And one of my other members, she basically said like, oh yeah, I love horror, da 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 da, and she seemed really cool. It's like, okay, let me get in with her. And she's like, okay, what should I watch? Like, watch The Thing. And then I wish I could remember. So it was her and a friend, and her friend was like, watch this shitty. Oh no. So her friend told me to watch Notting Hill, which was like also great. I love that fucking movie. The Thing.
Going from Notting Hill to The Thing is fucking hilarious.
For me, like I think the big moment for that is especially because like the film culture right now is this idea of elevated horror. Yeah. It's like some films not worth it. Horror is a broken genre. Don't fucking touch it. It's over. And then it's horror. And it's like, this is some of the greatest art ever made. And I think that whole divide is bullshit. But the point where I actually found myself trying to break the divide and not just being elevated horror was The Thing. Where it's like, and there's nothing seriously wrong about it, but it's the movie's like, wait, no, I could genuinely like horror. And as I dive more into it, literally a month later, I watched one of my all-time favorite films, which I've told you to watch repeatedly, Dude, Bro, Party Massacre 3, where it is breaking that fucking line. I'm just like, this is absolutely ridiculous, and I love it to fucking pieces. It's like for me, The Thing is a movie that's like, this is horror. This is how I'm going to start loving the genre, and it's made me question like my future as a filmmaker. Of like, is horror my shit? Because that is the film where I'm like, I need to do something with this.
Do you know what isn't a question? That Kurt Russell is a fucking god.
Hell yeah.
That's why fucking The Thing is badass.
Yeah.
Cheating bitch. Fucking greatest opening ever.
I mean, yes, but also Big Trouble in Little China is the best because he is literally useless.
My favorite character of Kurt Russell because yes, he is fucking useless and he is there for it. He takes that role 100% in. He knows he's fucking useless in that movie, and they make fun of it in the commentary for that consistently.
She's like, all right, final battle. Out. Fucking out.
Out for half the goddamn battle. Then when he
in
wakes
the
up,
peak
he
of
gets
his
fucked up
career, he just accepts, like, you know what? I'm not the star. Let me just take a fucking nap, and you guys do all your shit, and we're good.
It's fun. That's why I love him, is that he's willing to take that back seat to somebody that basically at that point was kind of unknown, because looking at his IMDb, didn't have a lot of credits to him. Prince of Darkness was the other one he did, which came out afterwards, I believe. Dennis Dunn is his name.
So,
but for the most part, American audiences didn't really fucking know the guy.
Prince of Darkness holds like a special spot in my heart. I don't know if you ever played there, but Movie Trivia Face Off, for the very brief time that it was around, I was this big heel, this big villain. And they're like, we're doing theme music, so give us your thing. I spent like a good week trying to find the right thing. It's like, oh hey, I like the thing. John Carpenter. So my entrance music was the theme from Prince of Darkness.
Oh, that's badass.
And I've never found the time to watch it, but it's always going to be like, no, this is so personal to me. Like even though I've abandoned the character, it's still like, this is such a. I resonate with it because I remembered how happy I was playing, and then hearing that with me coming, I was like, oh, this was fucking mint. It was great.
Donald Pleasance is amazing in that movie. I love him so much in that movie. Speaking of just random horror moments, what's some of your favorite horror moments?
I mean, just going from the thing, it's hard to not pick the first time you see the creature and having it, or it's splaying down on top of the ceiling and the weird deformed head. What are you doing?
Yeah, with the dog, but it's kind of like a mixture of all the dogs
and the tentacles fucking losing their shits. Actually, I would say the chest burster is always what's it called? That's something that I was actually sort of lost on me because of just it was very overdone in pop culture at the moment, and that's a big thing about just me with films as I still try and find more moments is just that idea of a lot of moments in film are sort of lost for me because I've seen them done so much over and over, and that's my fault growing up in this age of media. I don't have that authentic first experience.
Yeah, I completely get that. That is one downfall of experience stuff for the first time years later after it's come out, is the fact that more than likely at this stage of the game, it's gonna be spoiled for you. Unfortunately, it sucks. Because the chest burster scene, the fucking thing scene of the chest opening up and taking his fucking hands, those are shit you can't get back if you've already know it's coming.
And that's why I end up connecting a lot more with modern films. If we're talking moments, I think the Scare Bear and Annihilation is one of my favorite film scenes of all time.
Oh, that's great.
I think the actual first kill in the remake of Suspiria, where Dakota Johnson is dancing and seeing Mia Goth just absolutely fucked up beyond belief, is absolutely brutal. One of my favorite horror comedies, Ready or Not, with the Sam Raimi-ness of it all, of her trying to escape and the profound horror and comedy that is my shit. Or fucking Mandy. Mandy is
yes,
filled to the brim with them.
Other than other than Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, that is one of my favorite chainsaw fucking fight scenes ever in Mandy, because it's so fucking great.
And even if we look beyond 2010s, the shit that clicked with me is not the stuff that I see overdone in pop culture. Namely, American Psycho is in my top 30, 40 of all time, because I did not really see anything about that until I was already a teenager and I'd already been familiar with the film. Or what I saw recently last year, Reanimator. Which
hell yes.
I only see horror people talk about it and no one else. So it was still an authentic thing for me. So getting to experience all of that, and then for me, the two that stick most is obviously Herbert West is just brilliant, but also when they are in the morgue and I think it's the director of the school or something. I'm forgetting the character, but seeing him actually come back to life the first time a full body is reanimated,
yes,
and the absolute horror within all of the characters, it's shocking, and it just sits there just resolute almost.
Reanimator has always been one of my favorite. It's so insane, but perfect. That is a quintessential 80s fucking horror movie right there.
Yeah.
It's 100% 80s, and I fucking love it for that.
This is like back to that elevated horror argument. It's that middle ground. It's elevated B horror where it's titties and it's gore, special effects, it's fucking weird plot, but it's also people giving genuinely good performances. Like again, like I'm forgetting the other fucking dude. Jeffrey Combs created one of the most iconic horror characters of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Even like Bruce Abbott and Barbara Crampton genuinely like also create like emblematic characters that stick with you, and they give good performances, and they have them fully realized.
Oh,
like
Barbara Crampton is a horror icon, and
right.
She was fucking in everything, and she's great in everything.
And there is so little you would expect from a film like that. It's like other than H.P. Lovecraft, you're not going in with those expectations, but they stick with you. And the fact that they created something so, what's the word? They just created something that's so powerful that you could remember it for 40 years. Like that is so special in fucking B horror. Like I love that they're able to do that.
Yeah, dude, B horror is where, like, especially when you look at 80s and I'll say even early 90s, they had the practical effects still in 100% go, and it fucking works because even like I was talking to Kirk last week when we were doing Dawn of the Dead, even though the effects may not look realistic, the practical effects look fucking better.
Yeah,
they 100%, especially horror, look better than most CGI does when it comes to horror stuff. Like even the blood, even if it doesn't look 100% realistic, you see that fucking arm ripped off, you know that's fucking cool shit. That's fucking great shit. Now, what would be your favorite horror film?
Oh, favorite horror film? I go back and forth. Generally, I would say The Thing. Because if we're talking straight horror, to me, that is the moment. That is the moment where I say horror is something I could genuinely fall in love with. But I tend to not draw myself to straight horror. I like horror subgenres a lot more often.
Oh, okay.
Like I literally have my favorites list pulled up here, and if we're looking like I have 3 horror comedies above it, and then 2 that are just like horror. It's more of horror theming versus a straight actual horror film. And it is that where it's like, I love horror as an umbrella term and everything that can be created from it. Like
I like that, yeah.
For me, like a big idea of that is What We Do in the Shadows, where it's like it's using a horror framework to tell like a really great comedy, but also like very well-rounded characters. I think I am awful with character names. Jesus Christ! Just like Taika Waititi pining after this woman who he used to have in his old life, and also seeing how his youngness as a vampire impacts the world around him, and the other two just being old as shit and being cynical and just like I want to fuck and I want to eat, and that's it. It's like taking the ideas of horror and all this history of vampires with it, and then being honest to what they are, but still telling like the most lighthearted version of that possible is such a strong idea that rings with me with everything horror.
Yeah, what I love about bringing up why we love What We Do in the Shadows is also the werewolf thing. Is that it takes a new approach on werewolves, which I fucking love, because it's that like slight comedy aspect of them, but at the same time, it's showing the roots of werewolves. And I've wanted to see them do the Werewolf Show, like they were.
I think it's supposed to come out like next year or something.
I
know it's been on the back burner for a bit.
Yeah.
It's also like
that was the whole thing with that is that before they were doing What We Do in the Shadows TV show, they were originally first going to do the werewolf one, and I was so excited for that because I'm like, it's taking those random fucking characters and they're going to make a show. I'm like, fuck yes, I'm here for it. And then they did What We Do in the Shadows, and I fucking loved it anyways. Like the 2 seasons of What We Do in the Shadows is fucking amazing.
I only got like halfway through the first season. I just sort of fell off of it, but I want to go back purely because I know Mark Hamill's in it, and I don't know what the fuck Mark Hamill is doing in that show.
Oh man, so much. The cameos they have in that are fucking especially season 2. God damn, they elevate that shit with cameos, and it's amazing. So let's just get right into it. I brought to you. Sometimes people bring movies to me, and then other times I'll approach people knowing that they love certain movies and go, "Hey, you want to talk about this one?" And there was one movie that I got from my friend Kristen last week on Blu-ray that I've been wanting to rewatch. So the first person I went to was you, and I went, I know you love this movie. Do you want to talk about it? And thankfully you said yes. Fucking Sleepwalkers, man. Stephen King Sleepwalkers. This movie I saw when I was a little kid. I don't know if I saw this one in theaters, but it was fucking close. And it's basically a mom and a son who are
fucking,
and they're kind of in a mixture of cats and vampires. Like, it's a little lore of a new kind of vampire. Very strange concept, but I love it. And they go to a small town and they need a virginal female so they can survive. And he's trying to get it for his mom. Now, why Sleepwalkers for you? Why do you love this movie so much? What brought you to it? So
I have a very unfortunate beginning with that. There's a very big internet comedian who we're all aware of and no one really likes called the Nostalgia Critic. And okay. he does this thing every year, Stephen King month in October. And one was like, sure, let's do Sleepwalker. And it was like his weird, like out there one of just like, hey, look at the Stephen King thing that everyone just sort of forgot about. And I saw that and immediately I was like, wait, do I love this? Like, do I fucking love this? And ever since, and it's been like 4 or 5 years. And it's just stuck with me. And in these little like bits and pieces of just like, I've always just thought about how Stephen King created like this batshit insane. Like this is peak cocaine Stephen King.
Oh yeah.
Where it's right between like his big 80s hit like home runs consistently. And then like his sobering shit in the 90s with like Green Mile and Misery of just like and like coming out of it of just pound a day, banging out as much as he can, like fucking James Patterson making fucking bank. And he made this. I'm like, how in the fuck are you that famous and create one of the best, worst movies with one of the most insane fucking premises? And I think it all even comes like fundamentally down to like, you have an alien who looks like a cat and their weakness is cats and they fucking like they burn from it. Like that is something that cannot be created from a sober mind. And I don't know how it became what it is. And I was excited to actually find a DVD copy and actually get to watch it and live all of that shit.
What's funny about this too is this was one of the first movies that he is credited as a writer that was not based off a previous property of his. Right. Like this is just him going, fuck it, I'm gonna write this and let's see what the fuck happens with it. Like one of my favorite parts about this is that it is based, like as you saw on the beginning, like little definition of it. It's based off vampire lore, and it has them like. It has him biting Mr. Beetlejuice himself. What the fuck is his name? I always forget his goddamn name. Where is it? It is Glenn Shaddix. Like biting Glenn Shaddix, but then they're also sucking the souls out of people, which brings up one of my favorite images ever. And it is right.
Oh, is it?
It's right. It's very fucking crazy. Hang on, let me bring it up. It is right here under this one. This fucking image. Like this is where you get to see them as the actual cat mixed with the vampire in human form, sucking the soul out of her.
See, so on this watch, I was realized like I don't see as much cats. It's like if someone took the phrase catfish and literalized it. Yes. Because those are like some weird fucking like they are like sopping wet costumes.
Oh yeah.
And, like, I don't know. Like again, this idea of like there is no basis here. This entire film is entirely illogical and makes no goddamn sense. It's like sure, let's do aliens, and then they make something that looks like it came from like 30,000 fucking feet in the ocean.
Yeah.
Like what the hell is it?
And they show like during certain sequences, like the car chase, the police chase sequences, that he turns like he has like the cat form, but then it turns into this fucking weird ass underwater monster. Yeah, like, it's fucking insane.
the film has this great sense of just comedic timing or comedic buildup.
Yes.
It's like, what the hell is this? And then when you see him first turn into it, when he's like murdering the pedophile teacher and just rips his hand off with his dick, I guess, and then hands it back to the teacher. It's just like normal dude. And then half cat, weird fucking looking cat's face. Like, holy shit! He goes to fucking hunt him down. He's like, like,
now with him, like that sequence in general is just so interesting because from the get-go, he does not believe anything this kid is fucking telling him. Even when they're in school, he knows something's up because he gives that fucking look when he's looking through the blinds. He gives like that fucking evil stare at him, knowing that he's hiding something from him. And to know that he pulls him over like he's a cop.
I looked it up. You're not from here, so I'm gonna give you a hand job unless you tell me the truth. Then he fucking murders him.
He rips off his arm and he gives your hand back and then chases his ass through the fucking woods / swamp.
My favorite part of this is like, yeah, the opening is sort of like that and has some like weird obsession with killing cats.
Yeah.
But there is no buildup, absolutely none, towards this weird fantastical horror shit, except for like a mom's fucking her son and there has to be something there because they're talking about killing people. It's weird, but you don't expect anything. So if you just like... So I talked with Alex Coronado, like my showrunner over at Ontold, just like, you should watch this shit because he thinks Alex Krieg is hot. And I was thinking, what do I just show him? Like I don't show him starting with the actual Sleepwalkers definition. Start him with Mark Hamill at the scene of the crime, of like all the dead cats and shit, and just wait for his reaction because genuinely there is nothing telling you that this fucking kid is an alien cat shit. And the second he kills him, it's just like, that is where the movie turns into like this boring, like, just this boring, like 90s teen sitcom bullshit into batshit insanity. And there is no middle ground. It jumps over the shark like fucking Happy Days immediately.
Speaking of the beginning, listening to the commentary when I did last night, they did not have that beginning. They did not have that opening, but the studio went, you have to have at least that opening to explain why these fucking things hate cats as much as they, like, you gotta show something. Like, it's just so random where you start. You gotta have an opening, and they brought that opening in. I think that opening worked. Like, still, you don't understand what the fuck is happening, but that image of like that fucking 70 cats hung up, you just know, okay. Just like, what business does not like fucking cats?
People related like that's like, holy shit.
It is fucking nuts. Now, what are some of the other like favorite scenes or moments in this?
It's hard not to like, everything with the cat and Clovis is absolutely phenomenal. And my two pitches for this film, I was like, you just want to have fun. It's cop kebab. And
yes,
and then as fucking I am terrible character. I should have written this down. As Charles is like dying on the couch, and his mom's like, you know what? Sure, let me go and get some soul for you. And she just walks over to the Robertson house, and the cop is just eating there. It's like, hey, no, stop! And then just stabs it with fucking corn.
Yeah, like breaking through the bulletproof vest with corn is fucking amazing.
And she's dragging Tanya out of the house, and Cop's like, hey, stop, don't do that, no. She's like,
Now, speaking of that cop, my God, yes, we're going to talk about him right now because he is fucking incredible. I am hoping I bring up the right image here. It's one of these two. I don't know
what Nick Garris had on this fucking crew.
Fucking Ron Perlman. Fucking Ron Perlman shows up in this movie halfway through out of fucking nowhere.
This entire cast is filled with cameos, and looking back, you're like, what the fuck was wrong in your career that made you say yes to this? And be like, Ron Perlman, like, I don't know what he was doing at the time. I'm not that well versed.
Like, for Ron Perlman, easily for Ron Perlman, he was doing like Beauty and the Beast. He hadn't really hit the groove of being Ron Perlman.
He was a character actor for a while.
Yeah, okay. So this, like, it's a perfect role for him. It's just so fucking random. Like, when you look back, looking at Eyes now, seeing him pop up halfway through this fucking movie.
I'm watching this, and I'm like, why is Hellboy doing this? Where, like, the one line that sticks in my mind is like, well, if her mom or your daddy are going to give her spanking in place, then I guess I'll have to. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ.
It is like... This is one of my favorite scenes, basically because of the practical effects approach here of them taking, like, again, listen to the commentary. They had to take out a lot of the gore here. What originally he had is when she bites off his fingers, you see it being pulled off. See, but they had to cut it because they wouldn't give him an R rating for it. So they went, okay, you got to cut this down.
There's a lot worse that's been done.
Exactly. That's what I didn't understand about this is why, that's the fucking limit you have? That's the limit?
It's perfect understanding of comedy. Like, it's the same thing with the teacher and handing him his hands. It's like, he's just showing his finger. He's like, like there's no horror there.
Yeah.
It's just, he's like, it's fucking hilarious how poorly directed these actors are of just like trying to understand what they're going through. It's like, I just lost all my fingers. Like, oh well.
Especially like right after the finger approach, she snaps his arm, knocks his ass out with his own elbow. Like
that's rad though. That's fucking rad.
Amazing. It's amazing. Because you don't know, like they don't show him after that, so you don't know if he fucking died or not.
To me, it's like it's the one peak of just like this is like they have to understand what they're doing here. Nothing else like screams competence to me. That is just like that is both so fucking badass and hilarious at the same time. Like there is no way someone could do that and not understand what they're doing. That is one of my favorite just kills of just like again if he is dead, that is so brutal, and the fact that I haven't seen it done anywhere else just shocks me.
It's like that, and Dan Martin, the other sheriff, the one that gets in the police chase with him, are my favorite kills because he gets stabbed in the fucking ear.
Yeah.
And he's able to get up and fucking shoot him. Like, he should be fucking dead. Like, the way he gets stabbed, he should be gone. But no, fuck it. He's gonna get one more shot off.
That cop is such a poorly constructed character, too. I was just like, why is he in the film? I don't know. But he has a cat. Clovis is like so funny. Clovis is just there, and then seeing Tanya at the end of the film, just like having like her final girl moment of holding Clovis, like this is not earned. Where the fuck did this come from? I'm just like, it's like, oh, I just like she is staring at the house of just like I defined cinema holding the hat. It's like, oh wow, like I don't know what to do. It's like, you didn't fucking earn this. Why is Clovis here? His owner is fucking dead on the side of the road.
Speaking of that scene with the sheriff basically dead, it cuts to one of the greatest like start of cameo moments ever. Because in that moment, you got Stephen King, you have Clive Barker, and you have Toby fucking Hooper together in one scene. It's insanity. In one scene, you get those three together.
I wish you
had the cemetery guy.
I wish I remember his exact quote, but just Stephen King just walking out, it's like, I don't want no part of this. I'm not taking credit for this. And he just fucking leaves.
And they keep bringing, like, I love it. They keep bringing him to someone else, and the someone else is another cameo, and another cameo, and then finally gets to the sheriff, and the sheriff basically tells him to fuck off. He doesn't want anything to do with it. And then later on in the film, like towards the third half, when they are in like the police station, you get the last cameos. Joe Dante and fucking John Landis together. Like, God, and I see those make sense because, well, actually, Toby Hooper makes sense as well. Because Mick Garris, they've done a shitload of like, they're like the Brat Pack of horror people. John Landis, Joe Dante, Mick Garris, and even Toby Hooper for a little bit, all like hung out together and like went on each other's sets and helped each other out all the time. Having like Stephen King, he's a part of it. Having Clive Barker show up is so fucking amazing, but so fucking random because out of the whole group, he's like, what the fuck you doing here? It's so great that he's like randomly in it.
This movie has like a crazy all-star cast, and I don't understand, like, again, like there's not a lot of budget put into this. There's not a lot of like the lead aren't really stars. It's not even like an established Stephen King property. It'd be like if fucking Spielberg make a cameo on Maximum Overdrive. It makes no goddamn sense, and yet it continues.
Speaking of Spielberg, one little fun fact I found out is towards the end with that sequence that I showed earlier of him sucking the soul at the end, Stephen King visited the set that day because he was doing Hook on the same backlot. So he visited the set and got to see that fucking scene brought out. Hey, Rose, how you doing?
Just imagining. See, that is what would make if Ron Perlman was Robin Williams, and then him just hamming it up with just all his fingers just ripped off.
It is fucking insanity. Now, with that, like one of my other favorite sequences that it's a very, very fast moment, but something that stuck with me ever since I was a little kid. Be like, when I watched this a few times on VHS as a little kid, I hadn't watched it at that point in like 10 years, and I came back to it. The dancing sequence of Do You Love Me when you first introduced Tanya.
Yeah.
Like for some reason, that whole sequence just stuck with me. That song, her in the theater just dancing, that always stuck with me. And it's such a moment, like you look at the movie now and you go, this is a perfect character moment for her of introducing her, because you're introducing her as like this bubbly teenager that is very innocent, very out there, doesn't know what the hell is happening. And then she runs straight into his ass. And at that moment, you know, things start changing. Well,
I think it's also just genuinely great, like contrasting. I also think like the opening dance number is also like on paper it's really lovely. Like, it's a really beautiful song and just two beautiful people just dancing together, having a good time. And it's like, I love you, mother. And then they start just fucking going at it.
Yeah,
this idea of just going into the deep end of just like, what the fuck is this movie? And then immediately you go into our heroine of her like not having this big sensual song, but just of enjoying herself. And like that is how you should create a good protagonist. Like, here are our villains, here are our heroes. You know that they're like, you know why this one's fucked up and why this one you should be rooting for.
Yes.
I wish the rest of the film was that smart.
Now, bringing up the cat image, I did find one image that showed him looking more like a cat than anything else. This was the last image that I found that really like shows that cat quality with the fucking nose and shit. And one of my favorite things about this is not this scene, but it's when he is attacking her in the woods. And it has one of my favorite quotes because it's basically him fucking with her. And he goes, when exactly did I lose your trust? And it's after she's like fucked him up. It's just so fucking stupid.
Like the character at that moment is basically saying like, oh, I know I'm gonna win this. I'm gonna play with my food. Yeah. And then she grabs the fucking the wine, but the wine opener and just
in the eye. Brutal. And then she gets him in the other eye at the end of the film. Like, she fucking pokes his eye out. Like, he just gets all fucked up. And it's fucking
dude's just having a rough day.
Oh, yeah. He does not do well in this fucking movie. Now, since this is kind of based off vampire lore, of their saying of what vampire lore is, what do you think is, what would you choose, vampire or sleepwalker?
Oh my God. Like, are we talking like what I would rather watch or what I'd rather fight?
Let's do both. I like that. Let's do both.
Like, I mean, for both it's vampires, but like I think vampires still, again, like we talked about earlier with what we do in the shadows. There's so much lore there that you can build on and taking these pre-established concepts and building off of them. But also, vampires are the easiest monsters to beat. Just don't invite them in your house and you win. You're good. You can't fucking die. These ones, they'll just look all pretty and then tell you like weird shit about like carving gravestones or like doing like weird like crime scene analysis on them, and then try to fuck you and suck your soul.
And they can survive in daylight, as you well fucking know, so they can get you at night.
Their weakness is cats. And I got where the fuck did he go? I got one who's like fucking sleeping over there. Like, yeah, I'm good in theory. But I'm not gonna risk it when these motherfuckers are ruthless. Like, Dracula won't snap my elbow and stab me in my head with like my own fucking like bone. He'll just be like, "Oh well, bye." Like, I'm fine.
Who would be your favorite character out of everyone?
I mean, it has to be the police. Like, it has to be the police officer with Clovis. Like, everyone in here is just so, it's like either they're despicable or they're boring. He is just a dude going about his day, playing with a fucking cat who should not be there with him in a police car.
And he gets on one of the greatest police chases ever, because when he's flying by, he's just chasing him. He thinks he's just chasing a teenager. Then the fucking car comes back and he goes, "What the fuck?" The fucking car around.
And he's so incompetent. It's like the car disappears. He's close up, like he will see it driving down the street. I was like, oh well. He just fucking turns around. He just leaves it.
Which brings up another point: is them being able to disappear.
They can disappear. And they change the fucking car. They entirely change the car. What is that fucking power?
It is fucking crazy. It's scary because then you know that they can attack from anywhere. You can't fucking see them coming if they want to, but cats can see them. Even the cat can see him in the red glare in the car, and he keeps saying, "Stop looking at me. Stop looking at me." My favorite character is gotta be him, man. It's gotta be Charles, because he's such the suave guy, but then he's such a fucking dick when he plays with her. He's such an asshole to everybody, and it's amazing. And then he just gets completely fucked over the last third of the movie. He gets his eye gouged out. He's all fucking laid out. He finally looks like he's about to win, and then he gets his other eye gouged out.
Going back to Ready or Not, like this just has such a great shitty side character energy. Like to me, he could play the husband in Ready or Not, of just this elitist of just oh, don't worry, you're fine when things are wrong. It's like, oh, you should have done better. Like, what is wrong with this dude? Could be just casually the biggest douchebag, and I would believe it every time. Like he's going for the fences here, but if he keeps it in the fucking infield, he is incredible. I think he could do so much good shit.
Oh yeah, and he's actually part of the commentary. It's him, it's Tanya, and it's the director Mick Garris together, and it's a new one. So it literally took place 2 years ago, because that's when they did it, and their experience on this movie is fucking fantastic. Hearing what they have to say about it, they love this fucking movie. They are so glad they did it, and she was supposed to do Dracula. She got hired to do Dracula, but he fired everyone off Dracula that wasn't British, because he wanted the authentic accents.
Fucking
Francis Ford Coppola. Yeah, Coppola.
What? And he kept Keanu?
And get this. Since she couldn't do Dracula, she did this movie. So if she had Dracula, we would not get the same fucking Sleepwalkers that we got now. This is crazy.
I was watching with my parents last night, and just every time someone famous comes in, it's holy shit. And then it's why do I know these people? Because then the fucking because Tanya is from Riverdale, which my mom watched the shit out of when it was watchable, and Alice Krieger is from Star Trek. I'm just again, how do they get this fucking cast?
It is
every single second
crazy.
You are so much better than this. Why are you here?
Even the opening with the title card, it kind of feels like a TV movie. How the title card comes up, it kind of feels like a Tales from the Crypt episode coming. It is very strange, but it works for this type of thing.
All right, so that was my me being a Schmodown chill for half a second. I was a big fan of Action Movie Anatomy, and they had this great thing about thesis statements of just what is your one defining what is your one defining statement of this film? And in my head, I basically this is a Goosebumps story directed by Paul Verhoeven minus a social commentary. It makes no sense. It's just weird shit living in a weird world and ungodly horny. That is all this movie fucking is to me.
It is very fucking the whole concept is them wanting to fuck or suck souls. Either way, that's what they fucking want. Now, we brought it up a little earlier, and this is a perfect example of the practical effects. How do you look at for this movie, practical effects wise? Do you think it works? Do you think?
I think in moments like this, where it's a freeze frame, it looks fine. In motion, it looks so uncomfortable. I get they're supposed to look like cats, but it looks constricting the way that Mike Myers in Cat in the Hat looks restricting, where it feels like it's restricting their facial movements, and it would just be painful to wear and try to force yourself to emote.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Where you can focus on the actual scrunching and the folding of the makeup, it looks fine. But when you're in a scene trying to sell it, it just looks painful.
It really does. And he actually complained a little bit about the makeup effects until Ron Perlman showed up and he goes, "You haven't seen anything until you've seen fucking Beauty and the Beast." I had to be in that fucking costume all day. And then he did like Hellboy later on. So Ron Perlman is one of the guys, like, it's another funny story of Ash. Bruce Campbell, when he did the Evil Dead movies, how much blood and how much of like all the shit he had to go through. When he did a very independent movie called The Woods in like the 2000s, the girls at the because it takes place at like this girl prep school, and all the girls were complaining about all the blood, and he goes, "Don't complain about me about blood. You had no fucking clue what you're talking about." Like, I had to get drenched in this shit. God damn it! I don't need to hear you fucking complaining about little blood. Now, with this movie, if you had to call on somebody, not Ghostbusters because it's not Ghost, would you call on Ash Williams or Snake Plissken to take care of business? Two random guys.
So, I have never seen either of the Escape films, so I'm gonna accept Ash, but I also think he's the correct answer because Snake is used to dealing with these big bombastic humans. Ash fundamentally understands how to fuck up some demons. Like he's just like, okay, we can use his cats. He'll come in a fucking cat suit. He won't give a shit. He will find a way to win this.
Like, and even if he gets his ass kicked, he always fucking comes back. It does not matter. Like fucking Army of Darkness, when he goes into the pit. Like, I love the opening of that pit sequence because you see the guy fall down and the fucking amount of blood that flies out. So you go, this fucking person like fucking don't know what the fuck she did to him, but he's dead. Then Ash falls into it and he finds her. And instead of like breaking her open, she just starts beating the shit out of him with punches. It's so fucking random.
In my head, the way this goes is like he's getting fucking hunted down by this dude, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you're trying to stop me from getting my kill, and they're about to kill him. And then he starts sucking Ash's soul. It's like, holy shit, you're a virgin. And immediately he's like, wait. No one could know this. And then he starts on his rampage to try and keep that secret and try to kill these two.
Chops him in fucking half with the goddamn chainsaw. Now, as we're winding down here, is there anything that we haven't brought up that you wanted to mention?
I think you got everything. I wish there was more of this. Like it is so quintessentially 90s that you can't really do much about it other than to accept it for what it is.
Yes.
But I would love to see more stories in the vein of this and fully accepting the campiness. Because again, I don't know if King did or if him and Mick Garris are just genuinely that incompetent. But if this was made on purpose the way it was, I want more of this kind of King writing. Like
it's so batshit crazy that you're either in or you're not in. I don't see any fans are going, it's all right. No. Either you fucking hate it or you fucking are in and you love the shit. Like, it's just fucking there.
King is one of my biggest inspirations as a writer of just trying to just like throwing everything at the wall and following through with it. I have not seen him understand horror comedy quite so well. And if this is him, like, I get it. I want more of this King. This King, I will throw any amount of fucking money at because it's a great time.
I will say, biggest comedy moment of Stephen King is, honey, this ATM called me an asshole.
You know what? I think handing this over to the crew who wrote Monster Squad. And
yes.
I think that's what I want. I want Monster Squad 2 with fucking Sleepwalkers. That is what I want.
Because Fred Decker, the director of Monster Squad, he's always wanted to revisit that story and those characters. I think this would be fucking perfect for a sequel, bringing Sleepwalkers on them.
Just fucking Space Jam to it. Like, it's not just the ones we had before. It is every monster we can throw fucking money at. We got, and you can just see this dude just stabbing random, like the enemies with just random shits and having different puns for each one. Like, that is what I want.
Now, as we wind down here, like I always do, I have person I have on call pick a movie they would double feature with this one. So I'm gonna ask you, what movie would you double feature with fucking Sleepwalkers?
I think this is a very thin line to walk, because I do not think someone should watch this film first or sober. So it needs to be a film that can follow a raging drinking game, and it's like the first film ends as this is like winding up, and as you're building up to to the hand getting ripped off. Like you're refilling your drinks, you're getting some snacks, maybe you just like you're throwing up in the toilet, then you're good. I promise I'm not pandering, but I am a little bit. I think you do Evil Dead.
Ooh.
Because so I was doing some digging earlier before I got on this call about like what are some great drinking games, and I have open an Evil Dead drinking game where you can get fucking wasted, and the more and more you drink, by the time that movie ends, you are ready for the absolute insanity of this. Because I couldn't think of anything to pair with this other than alcohol, and that is the way that you get through it. You get to those first 20 minutes, and the second you actually get to sing the Sleepwalkers first appear and everything following it, that is where you start to get your fun.
I like that. That is actually a good fucking choice, because also the effects wise, they work fucking well together with the practical effects and the campiness and the fucking insaneness of
Evil Dead's basis of like they wanted to be a genuine horror film, but they were so bad at it, they created one of the best horror comedies of all time. And like you couldn't go Evil Dead 2, because even though I think it's more fun, it doesn't have like that. It doesn't match the atmosphere of Sleepwalkers. You go with the original, where they keep fucking up and it's ridiculous, and you get wasted. And then you come into this, and it's like, sure, hand ripped off. Oh, it's Clovis. It's a cat. Like that is the energy you come into this with.
And see, for this, I went a slightly different approach. I wanted to bring in the quirkiness of the villain fucking with the main characters. So I looked for a little bit, and I went, I'm going to do 1985's Tom Holland's Fright Night. Okay. Because it has Jerry Dandridge fucking with Charlie the entire goddamn movie. And it's another vampire story, but this one is your next door neighbor. It's Rear Window, but with vampires. It is such a ridiculous concept, but it's worked so brilliantly, and it has that campiness, and it has the same type of tone as Sleepwalkers. But I think they would pair fucking brilliantly together.
You also have like the evolving of the vampire mythos, which is like, again, I haven't seen Fright Night, so I could be wrong, and you can correct me. But I feel like Fright Night is a very like it's an 80s vampire film, but it also stays sort of loyal to what we think of modern vampires as.
100%. Yeah, you can't go in the house. Crosses work.
Yeah,
like all that.
It's still the evolution of the Dracula formula, yes. And then it's like here's like a small step in the right direction, and then hard right into a fucking brick wall with Sleepwalker.
Where it says vampire lore, but they're really fucking cats, and not really like actual cats, but like alien underwater beings. It's fucking bad shit.
They look like the what the hell is that shit called? The creature from the Black Lagoon. That's what it looks fucking closer to than a vampire.
100% it does. But Spence, I want to thank you for coming on. This has been a fucking blast. I'm so glad you wanted to do Sleepwalkers with me. It gave me a chance to rewatch, and it gave me a chance to listen to the commentary, which I had been wanting to do for years once I saw that had come out. Everyone, if you love this, go revisit some of the older ones. Revisit last week's with Kirk. Dawn of the Dead was fucking great with Kirk, because that dude is a Pittsburgh boy, which I totally forgot about, so that was a perfect movie for him. We have a 10-year anniversary coming up next week of Why We Love Horror. 10 fucking years, and look at me. I still look the goddamn same. It's been a long journey, but next week on Friday, I'm going to have Ethan Beller on, and that's going to be a fucking good time. He's coming with a good choice there. Later today, we have another Buffett at the Mill match. It could be ridiculous. It could not, but it's coming. Let's see. Tomorrow, we'll probably have something having a lockdown. Friday, we have Jake on for box office versus Best Picture. And we're doing a big year. So there's going to be a lot of fucking movies there. Next week, we got Movie Games returning on Monday. Monday, we got fucking Movie Games returning. That's going to be a fucking blast. Everything else, we come at you random. We'll bring you updated shit as we figure it out. Spence, you got your league. We played in a team match on your league, which was fucking batshit crazy. It was a great time.
That match is dropping at the very end of June, so feel free to check that out.
And you have like, do you have anything else that you would like to plug at the end of this while we're here?
No, I wish I did. Just go to opening night trivia. It's a lot of fun. This fucking dude plays. I'm actually playing him in a month, so watch that shit. It's gonna be wild.
Thank you for coming on. I definitely want to have you on again. And you're always invited for movie games. You're always invited on for random shit we do. For people that are gonna watch this later, buy our shit and please follow us on fucking Twitch. God damn it, we got 27. We need to get to 50. I know we can fucking do it. But other than that, we will see you guys next time. Don't have music, of course, because it's Twitch. So we go out. Fake music. Thank you, everybody. We will see you next time.